It's like a great opener for this already.
Yeah.
All right, we're good. All right, perfect. Now I'm gonna record on here.
Yeah,
Okay.
Because we got
Yeah, she's gonna get home and be like, Aaron, I want to take a shower.
Okay, all right. Looks like all right,
We're good?
and
Okay, what were you saying?
Yeah, so like the original idea behind the entire thing, at least for me, when Evan brought the story to me, and it had kicked around like the idea of who's going to direct this, who's going to write this, how is this going to come to fruition, right? And what attracted me so much of doing the movie, just in general, was like the laugh track, the idea of the laugh track, because like I think like we've all seen fucking Friends and like Seinfeld, and I'm a big Seinfeld fan, but like it's just funny to be like, what can we do to like take a laugh track and like weaponize it? And use that not only to elevate, like we talked about, like somebody's performance, an actor's performance as a stand-up comedian, but like in those moments where we're cutting from, traumatic moments in Sean's life back to a comedy club, but there's laugh track coming in over the traumatic moments and bringing us back into the club. Like it's like truly the testament of like me wanting to be like, I want to make my audience feel something, and I want that something to be horribly uncomfortable when those things are happening.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna make some predictions, and I'm gonna be an absolute asshole about it.
Perfect.
And then
we work with only assholes, so that's perfect,
dude. And I hope my predictions are wrong, and I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
I love that we just didn't even have an intro either.
No.
Yeah. Whatever. You're sitting in on our conversation, douchebags.
Yes.
Okay. My prediction is what you're saying is right for an average audience member.
100%.
I also predict that I will also, for context, whoever's listening, I watched a rare, very rough cut of it.
Yeah.
And my criticism, everything. Oh God, did you record my glowing review of this?
I didn't, man.
This is okay. I'm gonna start off criticizing it, and I'm gonna go back to my glowing review because this is just my criticisms. But I highly suggest you watch it. Trust me, regardless of my criticisms. Okay. I think an average audience member will love this movie. I think a comic will still see the holes, and my argument to that, regardless laugh track or not, is Andrew Schultz. You've seen Andrew Schultz?
Yeah, I've seen. I mean, I know of him just because he's like all over Instagram.
Have you seen his quick jokes about like his he called it something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, on Instagram or?
No, it's he did a Netflix special.
Okay.
Where Andrew Schultz does the quick joke thing. You saw the Oscars. This is fucking stupid.
Great. The Oscars. Now you got me.
Yeah. Okay. Andrew Schultz makes fun of Will Smith.
Him and everybody else.
Right?
These guys are talk of the town.
Yeah, god damn it. This is becoming stupid. Basically, the way he writes jokes, regardless of an audience or a laugh track, it's so goddamn good.
Right.
Because he is a fucking perfectly very talented comedian. So I think that I would still be able to pick up on that, but the audience will love this movie.
And that's.
I was so eloquent before we started recording.
You were. It's okay.
It all went downhill. Okay, go ahead.
No, I mean it's interesting because it's like that's exactly like as somebody who doesn't write stand-up comedy. I mean I'm just not a comedy writer, and I think that Evan, who's sitting across from me in co-wrote, I could just talk for him.
Hello.
He's a much more comedy-oriented writer than I am. Even in his dramatic stuff, it's more comedy-oriented than anything that I've really ever done. That like even just to hear like a comic be like, oh, an audience is really gonna like this movie is like a glowing enough. Like I'm very happy, and like there was points. I mean, Evan can talk about like there were points where we're like, okay, so this is never gonna be as good truly as a stand-up comic because we're not comics, right? We're not stand-up comics.
That was my biggest concern going into this, was that we have to make the stand-up as authentic as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we didn't. The lead actor Thanasi, that's his name.
Wait, what is his name?
Thanasi. It's Greek. So,
okay.
So this guy. So you were asking before about this guy, like if he's ever done stand up. He hasn't.
Yeah.
We filmed a short film a year ago called Junk, and that was kind of his first like appearance in a film at all. Yeah. So he's only been in. This is his second film.
Thanasi, I'm very impressed by you. You work your stand up game, bro. So hit it open mic, bitch. No, okay, go ahead.
So. I've actually known him my entire life.
Yeah.
He's a very close family friend of ours. and he was just always the funniest dude. Like he's the type of dude that he'll sit down with you and he'll make you laugh for like 6 hours straight with just his storytelling. So his storytelling abilities alone were enough for me. Like, because I started writing this before, like, I approached Max, like, hey, you want to help me, like, finish writing this, help direct it maybe too, and I was just thinking, I was like, man, I don't know who would be good for this role, like, who's somebody that I know personally. They'd be like, yeah, I can definitely perform stand up, and
who's that humble.
Yeah, and like finally I was just like, okay, no, I can reach out to Thanasi, and he absolutely killed it for his first time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like even early on, like we had always me and Evan when we were writing Draft 2, we're talking months ago, last year, we're like, oh, Thanasi is who we want. Like, there was a certain point, like, you never want to write for somebody, right? Like, you never, at least as a screenwriter, like, I don't like to write for somebody in mind. Sure, I have like the idea of somebody type, right? But I never like. I'm not in the position to be like, oh, I'm going to write this for Joaquin Phoenix, right? Like how Paul Thomas Anderson will or something like that. And even he says that you shouldn't. But like there was a point where like we were definitely writing for like, okay, Thanasi is going to be our guy.
Yeah.
And by the end it was helpful because we got, we were writing things, especially in scenes, even that were outside of stand-up that were, once we were on set, he was like, yeah, I feel like I would say this. Like, I feel like this is, and that's just from, Evan obviously has known him his entire life, and I met him when I directed Junk, and he was a day player on Junk. He played a teacher. So it was, but even then I knew, like, when Evan brought it up, he was the first person that came to mind.
He was, I especially knowing that context, he was great. He very likable, very charismatic guy.
That's how he is in real life too.
He's great, and like that's what we needed, because he plays truly an asshole.
Yes,
he plays a shitbag.
Yes.
And like, so you need,
he's neither of those things.
In real life, he's literally the complete opposite of both of those things. But he plays that charisma so well. You are immediately almost like kind of infatuated with him. Something about his personality, and we needed that for him to play an asshole for the rest.
I agree, and I challenge him to stand up. I want to see him do stand. I want to see him do stand up so bad now, but like for real. But anyway, you guys, that was something I wanted to outside of Thanasi.
Yeah.
There was a clear vision here that I appreciated, like that ending. Spoilers?
Yeah, wait. This is definitely a spoiler podcast. If you haven't seen the movie yet.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Can we give context?
So we're talking everything. So
we're talking. Everything is on.
Whoever's listening, go to our YouTube, Da Vinci Street Productions, and watch it.
Yeah, go watch it and then come back and hear my opinions.
It's only 15 minutes.
Yeah, you have fucking time. Go watch it.
That's 4 minutes longer than a SpongeBob episode. Yeah. You can do it. You can do it.
That ending was perfect. Because, I don't know if you're going to have music or not.
Because it's interesting.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so again, to remind everybody, like, it was a very rough cut that we showed him because we're currently, by the time you will hear this, like, the film will already be released.
Yeah.
But what we showed was that it's very rough.
Very.
There's no
music.
No music, no laugh track, no crowd noise, no audio edit.
Yeah.
It was all over.
Okay, well then, just my humble opinion, no music.
Yeah, so the idea. So you'll see if you guys watch the movie, and you're at this point. Hopefully, you have like that last minute and 24 seconds. I want to say it is. Yeah. It's there to break the audience. Like if you're there that long, I want you to feel as horrible as you possibly can, in general.
Can I give my perspective of that?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I was fucking gushing about it earlier, and I will bring this emotion back, I swear to God, because it was very good. Guy, like 23 and 20.
Yeah. Yep.
Dude looking over to the left of me is
Max Salas. I co-wrote and directed.
Yeah, and then to the right of me is
Evan Salas. I produced and co-wrote as well.
Not related.
Not related. Yeah. Same pronunciations, but different spelling.
Max is looking like $1 million over here to my left. He looks like he should be like a character in Wolf of Wall Street, like in the background right now.
In the background.
You have some gold shit on. We are in Pilsen. We are like the tip of the South Side, and you were still looking sexy. And then Evan looks like an artist. Evan, you look like you should live here in this apartment. And together, you guys combined with Enzo, who did
Photography.
He DP'd. We got to point out, like, there's
He killed
so
it,
many
dude.
crew members. Like,
So many people.
They were all genuinely like phenomenal to work with, and like it was which is funny because we're filming an upcoming project next weekend called Hear My Plea, which our assistant director of Make 'Em Laugh is directing this one. So, and we're working with primarily the same crew. That's how much we love this crew.
Yeah.
So,
Guys, you're gonna be the fucking Coen brothers. God damn.
God willing, dude. God willing.
I will suck your dicks to get in the next thing. Please, whenever you have an availability, let me know. But that ending, that feeling. Okay, so I can't describe to you I'll tell you a story. Comedy does this thing where it boosts your ego to astronomical levels and then makes it plummet into the ground, especially early on. I did this show at the Fox Theater in Riverside. We were in front of like 200 to 300 people. We had produced it, we had set it up, and we had made money from it, like a lot of money from it, and I was on cloud nine. I did well. I think I was hosting, and I killed, and I was like, I'm the greatest comedian of all time. Fuck you, Eddie Murphy. I'm here. Aaron Chase is in this bitch. I was so fucking proud of myself. And then the next night, just with the biggest fucking head, I had a show in LA. So I was like, and this is maybe, 3-4 years into comedy? So I was dog shit. It's terrible. It's terrible. I'm just now feeling like, oh, okay, I deserve some money for that. I deserve $25 for this. But this was when I didn't deserve money for it. And it was this show, and then it was a show in LA, and I was like, yeah, I'm killing the game. And I invite one of my best friends, hi Matt, one of my best friends and his girlfriend to it. And they had to pay money to get into this thing. And it was in the back of this pizza place, and it was in front of like, 6-7 people in a huge space. So you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
How fucking there's no room for laughter. Like you have to really kill.
Oh yeah.
And I bombed so hard. I think I got heckled. I think if I remember, I got heckled. It was a black audience predominantly, and we'll get into race in a little bit. But that is the worst feeling. And it wasn't like the lights were bright. I could see the audience, and I'm looking at one of my best friend and his girlfriend, and they're just like, "You keep going, buddy."
So they were hecklers that wanted to bring you down.
Yeah. Oh, I sucked. I bombed. I was bombing. Yeah. They were making it fun for themselves. Yeah.
So, I only did stand up like a couple times in my life, like very roughly too, like nothing like professional like you have. So, like, what is that like when because I saw one video of you before. It was, I think it was at the Laugh Factory. I can't remember for sure. But it was right when you got on.
Yeah.
Like, all these girls, like, ooh! And you said something. I was telling Max about this in the car. I was cracking up where you were just like, you guys are like my mom if she was supportive. That was fun. But no, I'm like, what is that like? Like, what goes on in your head when you're being heckled? Because... Yeah. In Make 'Em Laugh, he does get heckled once in the film too. We wanted to show that at least once. So
I also like that was some nice zhuzh, some reality to the experience.
Yeah.
Also, I appreciate the compliment of saying I'm professional. I would not say that. I am getting there.
Okay.
But regardless of that, what is it like being heckled when you first start? Okay, when you first went on stage and doing stand-up comedy, do you remember anything? Were you there?
No.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
The thing with me,
such an honest no.
Because I was trying to think if there's any other answer, but there isn't.
No.
Because a lot of times for me, because like I grew up doing a lot of sketch comedy. I was in musical theater too, and a lot of it was I'd be in the musical for 2 hours, and I'd come out of it just like, all right, what the hell just happened?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm back to reality. You know what I mean? That's what you noted out earlier. And it's just the weirdest thing, like when everything else doesn't matter. You're like completely like blacked out, for lack of a better term. And it's just crazy.
Sincerely blacked out, dude. And so for the first, and depending on, this is different, everyone has different levels of this, so this is my experience of it. But for the first couple of years, you're not even really there. You're saying your material, and you know your material, and then you get comfortable enough to say it with a little bit of confidence, and it builds from there, but you're not really there. And so when you see younger, newer comics flip out on people, it's because you're in fight or flight. Like your adrenaline's going.
You got a lot to prove.
Yeah. And it's just you. It's just you, and it's your fault or not your fault. And there is no it was a bad audience. It's like, no, it was you. The audience wants to laugh for the most part. Like, yeah.
I mean, that's something that, I mean, that idea, I'm glad you just even said, like, the audience wants to laugh, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's something that we were really, it's the difference between a film audience and a comedy in a comedy club audience, right? Is a film audience isn't really in the mindset where they're like, the first thing I want to do is laugh. You know what I mean? And it's funny because, when you go to a comedy club, you pay however many, $25, $30 to go to a comedy club, and you sit down and you're like, I didn't want to do nothing but laugh for the next hour of my life, right? And, people that watch our movies in the past know that, like, they go in, they're definitely not anticipating a laugh, and I think that's something that we really was kind of a cornerstone in writing. We were like, we had to approach the film, like, we know that people's first inclination for almost everything is not going to be to laugh. And that's why I think, I mentioned earlier, weaponizing a laugh track, right? Like, using that to really facilitate it, and not in the way that, like I said, Friends does it, where it's like, you need to laugh when the laugh track is going, but more so like, I want you to feel something when the laugh track is happening. Whether or not you're laughing, or whether you feel like, ooh, should I be laughing? Is this something that somebody if I was in a comedy club right now, would I laugh at this? Or would I feel like I am feeling right now because of extreme, other circumstances?
I will have to see it when I see it then. Because it is, when I was watching it, I was like, I'm missing something. Yeah, I can feel I'm missing something. But the feeling heckling. So now, I'm good almost 7 years in, you have a lot more control. Like, I'm there. I see what's happening. I am not blacked out at all. When I finish a set, I remember everything. And when you get good enough, and depending on the situation, it's so much fun. Like, for me, heckling can be a lot of fun when you're winning. Like, because what the audience doesn't understand is, and this is no offense to your main character. What was his name?
Sean.
Not Sean, the actor. Thanasi. He is the type of guy to be like, I could do stand up. Is he?
No, I don't think so.
Is he not?
I mean, we approached him, and he was very much. I don't know that he was immediately confident that he was able to do it.
Okay, never mind, Thanasi.
He was very much like, "Are you guys sure that I'm the guy?"
Is it?
Yeah, he definitely had his
reservations.
Yeah. He was like, Like he didn't know if he could do it for sure.
Because I think truly at the end of the day, it's like we went for this realism, but at the end of the day, he's still acting. You know what I mean? It's so hard to get that.
That is, Thanasi, I love you. And you had a great performance. I'm just being an asshole. That is, his acting was great. Like when it comes to stand-up, I'm a pretentious fuck. It is my life, is what I care about. I moved away from California to Chicago for it. So you're talking to a guy who's kind of fanatical. So keep that in mind. Your audience, again, if you get to this, watch it. Trust me, you're gonna like it. But heckling it, it's like playing with someone. Mm-hmm. So like, you guys play sports? No.
I did in high
play
school.
Sports?
Yeah.
I did in high school.
I played tennis in high school, so
okay.
Not football.
Okay, tennis, and then
I did soccer and lacrosse, but very miserably.
Very white.
Very miserably.
I didn't know you played lacrosse.
You played lacrosse?
I did it freshman year.
Jesus Christ.
And yeah, there's a lot of stories I could get into about that.
I played soccer until my doctor was like, you literally can't play. You won't have knees when you're 20. If you keep playing something, I was like, all right, I'll go to tennis.
I'll say this and I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
This is when I knew that I liked the arts better than sports. It was spring my freshman year. I was in lacrosse and I was in a musical. I was freshman, right? So I was pig number 3 in Shrek the musical. Pig number 3. I wasn't even good enough yet to be the first 2 pigs. So I had to take off 2 weeks for the last 2 weeks. You know, if you've ever been in production, you know how it is, where it's like you're all day, every day you're practicing, right? So I just straight up didn't show up to the lacrosse for 2 weeks, and I come back, and the kid pissed in my cleats.
Jesus Christ.
So guess what I did? I just never played lacrosse.
You never put on the cleats again.
I retired. I retired. That was it.
That's amazing.
I wanted to
I
get
didn't
that story
know
out there.
Yeah. Whenever you see pictures of these guys, they look like artists. They don't look like athletes. But you look like you'd own a team one day.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
But
I can own the Cubs better than the Ricketts.
Damn right.
But heckling and dealing with hecklers and all of that. There's always that one person who thinks they're the funny guy in the group or the funny gal in the group.
Okay.
And that person, I'm thinking of a situation on Tuesday that happened. Those girls were more like, I would describe them as like drunk hecklers.
They definitely seem like they're intoxicated.
Yeah, there's
for sure.
I'm funnier than you hecklers. There's drunk hecklers. There's offended hecklers, and their motives are different. They were more like, I'm having fun, so don't be mean to them.
Oh yeah, of course not.
But then there's I'm better than you hecklers, and what's fun about them is they don't know that like you do this every goddamn night. Like I know I'm going to beat you at this. And so if you played tennis with me, you would crush me. And if you play lacrosse with me,
that's a pretty even.
Yeah, fair. I literally don't know how that game works at all. But in terms of hecklers, it's almost like movie reference. You guys will get this. Remember Spider-Man? Just Spider-Man 1, Tobey Maguire?
Yeah.
Yes.
You remember when Flash punches at him, it's in slow motion, and he's like,
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
That's what it's when you can get to a point where you're like, oh, yo mama's so fat, huh? Oh well, interesting, and then you can hit them back with something, and they don't, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's just crazy to me, like that somebody would sit in a comedy club and be like, yeah, it's my time to slam dunk a professional comedian.
Yeah,
like that's why that's
all
like
the time.
Like that's wild to me. And like, I mean, you say it all the time. Like you mentioned Tuesday. Like I feel like you wouldn't say Tuesday if it didn't also happen on Monday or like Sunday. Like that's wild that somebody and multiple times in a week would just be like, all right, it's my turn to slam dunk on the professional comedian. It's like that's crazy,
It's also a style thing. Like the character. That's another positive thing you wrote about the character is he feels He feels very conversational. Like his style. Did you guys know Gerard Carmichael?
That name sounds
it sounds like so familiar.
You should watch his new special, Rothant.
Is it on Netflix?
HBO.
Oh, okay.
Somebody said
it just
something.
came out, right?
Just came out.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil a goddamn thing. I wish you watched this before you made this. Trust me.
I've heard great things because I know it just came out, and I didn't know his name before, but he also hosted SNL recently.
Yes.
That's who it is.
Yeah.
Yes, I was just saying. I just heard this name.
Right. Like
I watched his monologue for SNL. By the way, I love it when they bring comedians on SNL. Like they need to do more
all
of
the time.
Yeah,
but his special is the feeling that you're trying to present in your film.
Right.
It is the same. I can't pronounce the fucking name of it, and you should just watch it. Trust me.
Yeah.
It
It's
is
not
the-
on HBO, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the feeling you're going for, and the style that I also have is kind of similar to that. I don't know if you. I'm assuming you didn't see One Man Show and comedy.
No.
That's totally fine. I said that as if I'm fucking famous, and I'm not. I'll send it to you, and you'll know what I mean. But I have a similar style to that character, except he has the white version of it, and I don't know if that makes sense. The character is very white male comedian.
Sure.
And it how do I put it? I thought that was good because it felt authentic to what this guy looked like. Does that make any goddamn sense?
Right, like he shouldn't have been anything other than he was.
Fuck. I'm gonna think about how to word this, and I'll get back to it. The ending of the movie.
Yeah.
The reason, okay. Take what I say with a grain of salt. You're the filmmakers. It's just my feelings. That story where I bombed in front. Yeah.
1 second. I'm trying to see some audio stuff.
Did it stop?
Not too long ago. Say something.
Something.
Hello.
Classic joke.
This one?
They all stopped. That's
Check.
Good thing we've been recording this something.
Try. Yeah, it's just stopped too. That's
It's
the thing.
picking up levels.
Let me. If I unplug and plug it back in, I'll keep recording.
I don't know.
We're recording this.
Here, let me stop that.
You can pause it for sure.
Yeah. Let me go here. I don't know why it's stopped. It's kind of weird.
Hannah.
Unplug. Plug back
Headphones
in.
are probably.
There we go.
Frightened. Check.
There we go. Cancel.
Check.
Hannah, you're good. You're good. You don't need to be quiet at all. This is a mess.
That was so good.
You're good. You're good.
I was trying so hard.
No, you're good.
How are you?
This is I'm gonna fuck you. I'm gonna get it. This is Max.
Yes.
And this is Evan.
Yeah.
Max, Evan.
They're gonna be famous
How's it going?
filmmakers.
I believe it, 100%.
Let me. I'm gonna listen to where we left off. Here.
Because it felt authentic to what this guy looked like. Does that make any goddamn sense?
Right, like he shouldn't have been anything other than he was.
Oh, sorry, my shit was everywhere.
You're good. I'm gonna think about how to word this.
Well, I
and I'll
guess
get
it
back
is
to
still
it.
recording,
The ending
but
of
the lines are just.
the reason. Okay.
I'm just gonna
Take
go.
what I say with a grain of salt. You're the filmmaker.
We're gonna send this
Just
to our
my
buddy Enzo,
feeling.
and like he'll
That's fine, man.
piece it together real nice for you.
As long as I get in the next
Let me.
I want to be your Samuel L. Jackson to your Quentin Tarantino, where you just come in and have me say cool shit with a cigarette. That's all I want. I want to say fuck a lot.
Have you seen? Do you remember when he was in Goodfellas?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. We're going
Isn't
again.
that
We're going
wild?
I
again.
always forget that he's in Goodfellas.
So do I. I don't watch Goodfellas that often, right? But like
Yeah.
I'll watch it and I'll be like, holy shit, that's Sam
Yes.
Jackson.
Goodfellas is my
Wait,
top
wait.
5.
Who's in
Exactly.
Goodfellas?
Yeah. It's the scene where I forgot what the character's name are.
It's fucking Slim or some shit.
Slim and the dude, it's another guy. The two Italian dudes walk into his like apartment,
Yeah.
and they kill him.
It's
no?
Joe Pesci shoots him in the back of the head.
Yeah, and then they grab the spaghetti off the stove.
Oh, I gotta rewatch it.
And Joe Pesci's like, black guy's always fucking late, or whatever he is. Yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah,
great.
yeah. It's fucking wild.
Yeah.
And then you're like, holy shit, was that Sam Jackson?
And that was before.
I mean,
Pulp Fiction. I'm trying to
Goodfellas.
think.
Yeah, that was before
1990
Pulp
was
Fiction. That was the- oh, that's
year for
before,
Goodfellas.
but-
Yeah.
We just nerded out. Okay. No, I want to be your Sam Jackson. Anyway, so the ending and the sound are why I feel the way I feel. When I left that set, my friends, I had to go up to my friends and be like, I'm sorry. It was embarrassing. It was awful. And then on the drive home from LA to Riverside, which is a good goddamn 2 hours in traffic, it's just quiet. I didn't want to put on. I wanted so bad to put on music and be like, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
That didn't just happen. I'm great. I'm still great, but I like couldn't even bring myself to turn on music. And I just sat in silence until I wept. And I cried on the way home. And it's like if you do it once or twice, it's like whatever. Like bombing is whatever because you can say, well, I'm just doing this as a hobby. When you're trying to do it as a career and you feel that high and that right after that crashing low, it's indescribable. And that silence that I felt, because there was no music, felt so palpable to how, as a comic, I have felt. It felt so like, if it was just ambient noise and a dog barking, or maybe you can hear a little bit of faint laughter in the club, and it's just him within himself, and it's just a gut-wrenching feeling. That's how I felt, and that's what I imagine personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great read of it. I mean, even if you read, the last line of the script, I don't remember it by heart, but I know that it's in bold, it's underlined, it's laughter is heard from the club.
Ooh.
After we cut to black.
Ooh!
So it's
That's good.
the idea has always been it's never to let the audience off easy, right?
Okay.
The audience is always sitting there, and that's why we have that really slow zoom, right?
Yeah.
And you watch it, and it's if you ask Enzo, like that's a Stanley Kubrick movie. It's Barry Lyndon. They do it over 300 yards. We did it over 40 feet, but like. It's the idea that you're forcing an audience to feel a certain way, and you're not letting them feel any other way. And in an ideal world, they feel exactly how you felt, exactly how you described, because this is Sean. Not only is it's the first time that he's in the real world. I think that is something that somebody pointed that out to me when we were writing. You go, the only time that Sean's ever actually outside the club and off the stage is now. And this is the only time we really see Sean in continuity in the real world. It's the only time. And then and that's the first time you really see how broken he is.
Yeah, I mean, I can get into like my inspiration for that because that kind of goes off of that for this whole film really, because when I was developing the story, I specifically remember the moment I got into stand-up. I was 12 years old, and I went on demand Comcast, and I looked at the first episode of SNL that was hosted by George Carlin. And he did this bit that at the time I thought was the greatest thing in the world.
Sure.
Where he was
You were
comparing
12. You were like, holy shit.
he was comparing football to baseball, and how football is like manly and men are tackling and punching, like moving all around, and baseball, you're just trying to go home. That's the whole thing. He's like, baseball players are just, whoo, go home, go home. Like, it was funny. And I kind of got into Carlin there, and I was a huge Robin Williams fan, and Robin Williams' death devastated me, right? And in our script, it's not in the film, kind of wish it was, but there's
Me and Evan still fight about this.
there is one line that kind of encapsulates what I think stand-ups are, and that's Robin Williams. I'm going to butcher it, but he goes, I think the saddest people in life are the ones that try to make people happy. Something along those lines, right? And Robin Williams is the perfect example of that, right? Without getting too much into it, but basically, I knew somebody who knew Robin Williams, like he met them on like a trip on a weekend. He was in Hawaii, and Robin Williams was there at a resort, and so he was doing something, and Robin Williams, he's like, I've never laughed hard in my life. You would never expect anything wrong with this guy, right? So it was always that idea that fascinated me, because I remember exactly where I was when Robin Williams died, and I was floored, and I feel like it's a common theme with a lot of comedians that, there was even like that table talk that they did with the comedians with Jerry Seinfeld. I forgot who else. It was like
Talking funny?
I think so. Where they even said it, and they all like agreed, and they like moved on so casually. It's like, yeah, we do this because we're depressed, and we just keep. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And if you want to talk about that, like,
No, that would be too much.
but that's the whole thing, right? I feel like that happens a lot where we have a lot of entertainers, like comics for sure, where they use their material as a way to kind of cope with life, right? So that's what we kind of wanted to do here. This character, Sean Keating, Max says it best. He doesn't really care if. How did you put it with Sean Keating? It's really good.
No, it's just the idea that like he could bomb, he could do it. He's just at the point of his career stagnation where he doesn't care anymore. Like the paycheck is going to come in because he's a regular at this club in theory, right? And he has a certain amount of people, like the kid that comes up to him on the bridge, like they like his stuff enough to pay so that he can pay the rent, and Marcia assumingly has a job as well and help pay the rent and whatnot. But I think it's the idea that he is compensating for so much in his life by doing this, and I think that I don't think it's exclusive to stand-up comedians. I think that that's a thing amongst all artists, right?
Yeah, and I'm not saying all artists are super down and everything like that,
Sure.
but I just saw a recurring theme with a lot of stand-up comics that I looked up to. I don't know if you felt the same way.
All the time. my literally, this podcast is literally just me talking to other comics, trying to figure myself out while bouncing off of what they've been through. Like, that's pretty much what the podcast is.
Yeah.
And that is, it's accurate to my experience in life. It is, yeah.
And obviously, that's my take from an outsider's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a regular stand-up comic at all, but just based off of what I've seen,
Well,
and that's that's all that we can help to do, right? We never. I think that it was a really early distinction that we both made, that we're entering an arena where we're not really fighters, right? Like, this is like a, we're not comedians, we're not stand-up comedians. I'm not a comedy writer, but we're going into an arena that is filled with people that are more talented than us and that are doing it in a professional level. So the best that we can do is hope to tell an emotional story, help to make that palpable feeling right at the end, and like to hear our stand-up comedian say that feeling is palpable is great. That's a great, like, vindicating feeling, because that's all that we've ever wanted, especially in those last moments, is somebody to look at that moment and see, like, I've felt that before, even if you're not a stand-up. Like, oh, we're peeling back the curtain here, and this is real. We're looking through the window here, like, this is actually what's behind everything that is fabricated, whether it is or not, and that was always the goal for that last minute.
I think if you do exactly what I said, you achieved it. No, I think do whatever you want, but I totally understand what you're saying, and I think what I saw was achieving it.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is that like pretty much what you said is what happens. So
No,
that was a great prediction.
Cool. I like movies.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just so impressed by you guys. You have it so for context for the audience, we came here and normally I do this with one person because I have the Zoom thing that only has 2 hookups, but we got technically 3 guys, but the third dude couldn't be here, Enzo.
Right.
So we have 2. So they brought some stuff and it fell apart. And as soon as shit stopped working, I watched you guys click into fucking Super Friends mode, and you're like, all right, you call Enzo. Okay, I'm gonna hack into the mainframe and see if we can. Like, you immediately hopped to it, and we're starting an hour and a half late. But to me, it's just that you are professional enough to be like, let me try to fix this as fast and efficiently as possible. Like yeah.
Because that's how it is. I mean, like, I'm not even the one that handles the technical stuff. You know, that's Enzo, that's Max, that's their domain. But there was even something when the day that we were shooting, the day that we were shooting the stand-up bits, because we shot all those in one day, because we only had that venue for one day.
Of course.
And we were just like ready to go. Everybody like, game, we're ready to go, right? And the camera's not working. The camera is not working. It's not like a light. It's not like. It's the camera. It's the camera.
We have $35,000 worth of lights on the stage, all working. And we're like, this is a miracle. We go to the most reliable piece of equipment. Doesn't turn on.
Immediately within 5 minutes. Honestly, Enzo was like on it. He was like, "We're gonna figure this out right now. We're doing everything we possibly could with this camera." We're like, "Oh, maybe it's this. Maybe it's the wiring. Maybe it's this." Enzo already pulled up something on Walmart. He's like, "Can you go to this Walmart right now?" I'm like, I was literally. I think I drove, or no, I was about to go to the Walmart. I had my keys ready to go, everything. Like, there's 20 dudes trying to, like, figure this out. It was just the battery. The battery's dead.
It makes it sound like geniuses, right? But the true ending of that story is that, so, like, when you run a camera like that, you have an external battery, right? You plug it in just, like, with a wire. But it's a normal camera, so you can still put, like, a normal battery in. But the external battery does not work if the normal battery is in. If the normal battery is just inside the camera, right?
Yes.
So it took 3 relatively professional filmmakers to say, it took us 20 minutes to say, wait, did we forget a normal battery in the camera? We look in the camera cartridge area, it's there. And we take it out and everything works perfect for the next 14 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, don't give us too much credit. But it's interesting that you like bring that up, right? Like that switch. Because I just recently saw an interview, I think it was Jonah Hill, right? He was talking about Martin Scorsese. And somebody asked him, why is Martin Scorsese great? Why is he great and everybody else is just good? Right? All these other directors, you know. And Jonah Hill's response was not, he writes great scripts. It's not that he knows where to put a camera. Jonah Hill's response was, he knows how to fix a problem in 10 seconds and he knows that that is the answer. And it's really interesting because that's what it is, right? That's all filmmaking is. Like, everybody always, like, you know, like, on set. So when we were in the comedy club, we had a few high school kids that were coming from Peoria, I think it was, or something.
College kids, but yeah.
They're like freshmen college our age, but they had never worked on set before this. So they came out and they wanted to just see what it was like, right? And it's like, I think everybody has this like rose-tinted idea that like filmmaking is like a dolly in and a beautiful swoop of a light and a boom up, and filmmaking is just like a bunch of kids that look like us, right, running around like our heads are cut off, like wondering like, oh, are we gonna get this? Are we gonna get this? And then at the end of the day, when we get it, we all sit down and we like smoke a cigarette and they're like, wow, I can't believe we got it.
Like, we did it.
I feel it. Like when I was, I'm gonna make myself sound old. When I was your age, you guys ever done the 48-hour film festival?
Oh, we've never actually done one, but we did something similar in high school that was kind of like that. Okay,
so me and my buddy, I have filmmaker friends back home, and I wanted to be an actor before the whole stand-up thing really sinked in. And I know all of the things you're describing, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like running and gunning, not having permits. I remember we filmed this thing, oh God, I won't say too much. I'm sorry, Bryce and Matt. This thing called Kick-Ass Jack when we were 18. We were just out of high school. There was I'll tell you some of this stuff off air. Okay, for real. I'll tell you some of this stuff off air. I'll tell you one thing, and that is we go to this alleyway there's like a gang scene, and there's a giant machete, and like a hook hand, and we're swinging machetes around in downtown, and the cops are driving by, and it's fucking madness. But it gets way darker than that. I just know my friends don't want me to. They have professional lives. They don't want ruined.
Can't hear the grievances.
Yeah, like I'm a comic. I'm allowed to be a fucking idiot. They're not. They're supposed to be professional.
And you were how old when this happened?
We were 18.
Oh, okay.
So we could have gotten arrested.
And this was in L.A.?
No, this was in Riverside, the desert. Have you seen Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My city is Breaking Bad was based off of my city.
Wow.
Okay. But it was just in Albuquerque or whatever.
No, I'm from Riverside, California. They based the show off of that. They were going to film it there, but it was cheaper to film in New Mexico.
Okay.
That
But what were we talking about?
What were we talking about?
Comedy, life, film. Oh, film's hard. It's super fucking hard.
It's fucking hard.
And I don't think it gets. Did you guys see Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Not yet.
Oh, fuck.
I want to see it.
No. I was just watching that trailer today.
Yeah, I'm gonna see it probably maybe later or tomorrow.
It's good.
When you want to talk about balancing comedy and drama,
Yeah.
just
Those guys are geniuses. Those two guys.
Who? I don't
They
even
did
know.
that movie Swiss Army Man. I don't remember their names.
Is that the movie with Daniel Radcliffe where he's dead and he's farting the whole time?
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Oh, okay.
It's so funny.
It's great.
Yeah.
All right, I don't want to spoil everything I want to, but it's people don't respect the craft of any goddamn thing until they. I think you guys respect stand-up because you do film and you write and you're like, I know that this is hard. I can't imagine what this is. And to me, I respect directing and writing and Enzo's DPing because I know it's hard, but I don't know how it's hard. If that makes sense.
Right.
Oh yeah, of course.
So you guys asking me about heckling. In my world, it's like, yeah, every day I deal with that. But if I were to be like, how do you? I don't even have a question because I don't even know where to start.
Sure.
Like, so I just and just the work and the effort you guys are putting into this, I'm just so impressed by. So I just think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it just comes from a spot of us like at least me it's not that I don't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
It's that I just can't do anything else.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because I was speaking to a family member recently. You know, I was just sitting on one of our porches, and they looked at me and they're like, "So what are you gonna do if it doesn't work out?" Right? And I look and I haven't really considered it, and not the way that I'm overly confident that it will work out. It's just that I think that it's premature to make something like that. So you just have to be totally committed to it because it's it's so difficult, and it's not like, it's hard to even have a 5-10 year plan, something like this, because you never know when it can or can't happen and when it can all fall apart.
Yeah, the one thing I love about this medium that we're at with Da Vinci Street is that
Da Vinci Street.
that's the name of our production company, Da Vinci Street Production.
Yeah.
It started on Da Vinci Street in Lamont.
We spent about 2 weeks there until we left.
What I love about it's very, for lack of a better term, loose. Our way of filmmaking. And I love it. And I genuinely don't think I could be able to do it any other way.
It's tough, because I mean, something that we always talk about, right? It's a conversation that we always have. Me and Enzo, me and Evan, me and Isabella, whoever it is like,
who's Isabella?
Isabella is directing. She was the assistant director on Make 'Em Laugh. She's directing our film that we start shooting tomorrow.
Hear My Plea.
Hear My Plea.
Okay.
Comes out June, hopefully. It's the idea that, we have the rest of our lives to fight the bureaucracy of film, to fight the financing, to fight the unions, to fight everything like that. You know what I mean? That we're in the position where we can make movies and not have to do that. Why would we do it any other way? It just feels backwards to try and do it any other way. And
because I think a lot of people forget. I even forget that Max, who is the prime, the primary director in all this. He is Da Vinci pretty much. He's Mr. Da Vinci.
I'm shaking my head very hard at that kind
Well, no, the point I'm trying to make is that guys like him, Enzo, Isabella, they're 20 years old, and it's just amazing because it's so hard to make it in the film industry. And I genuinely have no doubt in my mind that these group of people that I'm working with on a daily basis, they will definitely get somewhere for sure.
I concur.
I appreciate that.
No, for real. No joking. With that mentality that you guys have and what I saw, and that's not even the finished product. No, if you guys stick with it and keep doing it and keep improving, there's no fucking way you're not going to make a living off of it, which is what I assume is what you want to do.
I mean, that's all you can hope for, right? I think, at the end of the day, sure, I would love to be Paul Thomas Anderson, but there's only one Paul Thomas Anderson, right? There's only one greatest living American filmmaker.
Oh, you're Mount Rushmore of directors.
Oh, I can give them to you.
Yeah, I want to listen while
Do you
I
want like
bring this.
all-time bests or do you want favorites?
Personal favorites.
Okay.
I think it'll say a
Okay.
lot about your style, man.
Okay.
Okay.
I have to think about this, so you go first.
Okay, I can go. So the all-time, it's pretty close. So Stanley Kubrick, I think it'd be ignorant to leave him out. But favorites, he's also one of my favorites. Paul Thomas Anderson, Akira Kurosawa. Fuck, this is when it gets hard. Alfred Hitchcock. I think you have. I love Vertigo so much. Even just if he never made another movie, if he just made Vertigo, he would have made my top 5. And 5, I'm gonna go with a modern pick that isn't Paul Thomas. I'm gonna go Yorgos Lanthimos. I think he's the most exciting filmmaker that makes movies. Right?
You are beautifully pretentious, sir.
I do what I can to keep it at bay.
Okay. What about you, Mo?
For me, Max is definitely the one out of the both of us that is a lot more knowledgeable in terms of directors. I'm such a basic 20-something-year-old dude. My favorite director, I don't think he's the best director, nowhere near the best, but my favorite is Quentin Tarantino.
No. So,
Because, like, everything I watch, I could watch a million times over. So if I had to pick one director, if I were on a private island, to, like, watch their stuff over and over and over again, it'd be Tarantino.
dude, that makes so much. You were the story guy. You wrote. I knew you both wrote, but
I came up with the story. Max helped with a lot of the
Okay,
script.
dude. Now watching it, I had a fucking feeling. Watching it, that makes so much sense because your writing style, the desire to be not chronological, I can see that inspiration from Tarantino and this slick, like, it's not as, because we were talking about filming loose. I could feel that, especially with the beginning. But it's there's a slickness with the Stanley Kubrick. There's a moment where you were panning when he was performing, where I was like, that was really intentional, and I don't know why. I'm sure there's a reason.
I could explain
All the technical shots were up to Max.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or that was Max and Enzo, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, we
But-
worked it out. But you got to finish your list, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So there's Tarantino. I mean, the thing with Tarantino that I love too is that, like, which he's a big inspiration for the film I'm directing in the summer too, where I love just listening to people talk. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I feel like I love, like, good action scenes. I love good like I love comedies and everything like that where a lot of crazy shit's happening. But if you can, like, draw me in by just 2 or 3 people talking, like, that is, in my opinion, one of the hardest things to direct. So, and I love that. But there's Tarantino. I love Frank Capra.
Wild choice.
Yeah.
I actually have a 6th person that I wish I would have said. Now that you said that.
Frank Capra. He, for those of you that don't know, he was very early on in the 30s. Like, he directed a lot of really great. And one of my favorites is You Can't Take It With You, because I'm a huge sucker for movies about, like, life and, like, just people and relationships. Scorsese. I love Scorsese. I think Christopher Nolan. This is a wild take because everybody loves Christopher Nolan. I think he is underrated.
Yeah, I think Christopher Nolan made the most important movie to our generation, The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight.
I think that movie is going to be the reason that people is largely the reason people our age make movies. To be honest, it was the first movie that probably showed a lot of people our age. I know it was for me that, like, movies can be more than just shit that you can buy from cereal boxes and, you know, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Like, Christopher Nolan, when you just look at how he's never made a bad movie. In my home,
I mean,
my
Tenet
opinion.
is the closest you're going to get.
Yeah.
Just because I still know what it's All right, that's 4. You need one more.
If I had to think, Paul Thomas Anderson.
PTA, he made the list.
Max has definitely drawn me into the PTA.
PTA is just a genius. And I mean, the 6th guy is Elia Kazan.
Oh, okay.
I'm obsessed with Elia Kazan.
Max's favorite directors are all the directors that
He did On the
never heard of.
Waterfront. He did Streetcar Named Desire. He's a
really?
He's
I
a
feel like such a
play
idiot
director.
now.
He's a play director.
I love On the Waterfront too.
Yeah, and it's because it's my deep infatuation with Marlon Brando. Yeah, no, it's funny. It's funny that I'm gonna go back to what you said earlier, Aaron, about the you know, when we're moving with him when he's on the stage, right? So it was a very, like, pointed decision that me and Enzo made very early on in pre-production to say, you know, we watched a lot of stand-up comedy specials through the lens of how are these shot. One is Richard Pryor live on the Sunset Strip. Fucking hell, I can't talk. Fantastically shot stand-up special. Just, like, technically, we're like, wow, this looks fantastic. But we're like, we wanted to build to that. We wanted and it's why the movie feels the way it does, because the early scenes when he's on stage, it's all shot handheld, it's all shot from very low angle from the audience. And as we progressively get further into the movie, we go locked off, or we go the camera moving very steadily, like that Stanley Kubrick kind of dolly shot.
I'm high. Start like a minute, not even a minute, like 30 seconds. Start again.
So we started very handheld, very shaky, because we wanted it to feel like, oh, you're an audience member, you're here, you're this, and then we wanted to kind of pull that feeling out. So as the movie went on, and as the movie goes on to the end, we get a little bit more like that's not a word. Like a little bit
omnipotent.
More omnipotent. Yes, yeah. I don't know how to say it. But we're moving more on a dolly. We're more locked off. It's more kind of like you're just a viewer instead of an actual audience member in the club.
Okay.
And it's I think it plays to that thing you said, like you noticed it.
Yeah.
Which because at the end it's much the last 3 minutes of this movie are inherently much more cinematic than the minute 2 to minute 5.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. You know what? That makes a lot of sense, and I can't wait to watch it when it's done, because that makes a lot of sense. And I didn't know. Okay, you sly motherfucker. Okay, because I was watching in the beginning as a comic. I was thinking like, oh, okay, this feels real. I feel like this is realistic. And then by the end, I was like, all right, man, with your fucking soliloquy, hit a punchline, bitch. Like, what are you doing? But that cinematically speaking, that's your fucking intention, and I'm looking at it with a warped lens. Your audience is gonna love the shit.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited, and I think that it's also what you pointed out that for that opening, right? With the I think that was, maybe we might have been not recording at that point, but you mentioned the opening bit with the younger comedian.
Oh yeah, you want me to say that?
We weren't recording.
We weren't recording.
I can say it if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Please do.
Okay, so that in terms of reality of comedy, having that first guy, the way he spoke, the way he acted, I was like, oh, okay, he seems like a young guy. And you filmed his mouth. It was just his mouth, and it was just his microphone, and it felt like, okay, this isn't the guy. We're setting the tone, but we're not setting the character yet. This is just the environment, and this is the feeling that we have right now. And that first guy he felt like young and spry, and I think he felt like, what was it? He was trying to mimic. Hey,
Dice Clay.
Yeah, he was trying to. He was like a kid that for some reason is like 22 but wants to be Dice Clay, which is strange. But that was his vibe. And then when your main character comes on stage, he has a Mark Maron vibe, and he has an older, wiser. There's a sage-like quality to this guy, relative to the first guy. If anything, that first guy might be under his wing if he wasn't such a douche.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, like, even just talking to, like, how you said we shot his mouth, right?
Yeah.
It's funny because Evan mentioned Frank Capra, right, the director. That's directly from a movie called Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, which is one of my favorite movies ever. It's
great movie.
It's a fantastic movie. And, there's a scene in this movie that I remember being a child watching this movie with my parents. And even as somebody who didn't care about movies at this point in my life, I mean, I cared because I liked them, but I didn't care in the sense that, like, I was into film, right? There's a scene in this movie where he meets a woman for the first time, the woman who will become his love interest. And, it's the 30s, so men are wearing hats and suits. He drops his hat. And the entire scene, because he's nervous, he drops his hat, and he's fumbling his hat. He's trying to pick it up, and he's fumbling. And the camera the entire time is just focused on this hat, while he's having this nervous conversation with this woman who he's become smitten with, right? And the idea that, like, we're so focused on something that isn't what we should be focused on, while somebody is kind of acting and while a scene is happening, is exactly what drew me in. Enzo, it's that idea that he's not the main focus. His name is Robbie Martin in continuity of the script, he's not the main character, but he's the opening shot. So we want to establish the idea that we're in a comedy club, the idea that this guy isn't the top of the level, right? It isn't the headline. So we averted from showing him in what we probably should have done, a close-up of his face or something like that. And we did that because we want to get that idea across. Like, this is a guy, but it's not the guy. This is not the comedian. And I just was very happy that you pointed that out.
It was great, and it immediately sucked me in. I was very curious. And when your main guy starts talking like the shaky guy, motherfucker, you watch Atlanta?
Yeah, the first 2 seasons I've seen.
I haven't seen the third one yet.
Oh, god damn it, you guys. Work less, watch more. Cause fuck, man, Atlanta is... Yo, okay, this is bringing me into black comedy as well. What I think I was trying to describe earlier was, in the comedy world, there's this North Side and the South Side in Chicago. Do you know anything about this?
The only thing I know about North and South Side is the Sox and the Cubs rivalry. That's pretty much it. I don't know anything about... There's like a stand-up comedy rivalry, kind of? Or?
No, not a rivalry. Yo, the South Side would literally, and by that I don't mean joke, I mean literally murder the North Side. No, there's no rivalry or anything. Chicago's like the most segregated country in the fucking United States.
Yeah,
super segregated. Sure. So the South Side is black comedy, and the North Side is white comedy.
Okay.
And the West Side is country bumpkins, from what I gather. But and it's a different style and vibe and tone. And recently, a little bit about me and my comedy. You guys got to talk about your art. Let's talk about me on my fucking podcast, dude. No, but so I come from a very white area in Riverside, California. A very racist area, very conservative. My life was very, very difficult because of that. Only made worse through Trump in the past, however many years it's been. Doesn't it feel like 50, guys? I feel
like I was 4 when 2016 happened, and now I'm 20. I'm like, oh, okay.
It's fucking crazy.
The past 5 years have definitely felt like 30, to say the least.
And so, where I come from, I had to be around. I was mostly around white people. I'm older than you, so I had no like. Chris Rock was my black representation in film. Like when you.
I'm sorry about what happened, by the way.
Oh my god, dude! Oh, yeah. That's a sorry for the black community as a whole. That's an L for every black person.
He handled it like a champ.
Let's not even. Let's not even.
That was wild. I remember watching it. I was like, wait, was this real or was this the wildest?
Guys, this was our worlds colliding.
That's what I was just about to say.
And the universe bringing us together, which leads me to my other point. I want to work with you guys so fucking bad. You have no idea. But okay, so I grew up with here. You want a story?
Let's hear it.
Shoot.
Okay, I was a senior year in high school. I was 18, and I went to King High School, and everyone's white, especially in theater. You're just gay in theater. You're gay. 2004, 5, 6. You're fucking gay if you're in theater. I don't know why I'm using a Southern accent. It's California.
I know what that is like.
Yeah.
Half my family still thinks I'm gay. So.
There you go. And then being black and the only black person adds this other weird element to it. And so all throughout high school, I was in improv. I did plays or whatever, but there was no characters written for me specifically. And when I would watch movies, I loved movies, as I can tell. That's why I like when you guys talk about it. But when I watched movies, there was nobody coming from my perspective. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
And I remember complaining about that. People were like, well, dude, you have Tyler Perry. Stop fucking complaining. It's like, god damn, dude. That's
oh, man.
It's embarrassing, right? And so,
oh, man.
Right? Can you imagine if the only person that made movies for you was Tyler goddamn
Yeah. Let's watch Medea's Christmas Celebration 5.
Yeah.
If you want, Tommy Wiseau is a little extreme, but like if you, Tyler Perry's doing better than Tommy Wiseau as a filmmaker. But you know what I'm saying? Like that is. Who's the worst film? Michael Bay made all the movies for white people. That was the only movies with white people. You'd be like, this isn't.
It's horrible.
Yeah, you're in a desert for your own personality, psyche. That's not the right word, but you're in a cultural desert. Like you have nothing, and nobody looks like you. And so, my senior year of high school, we go to do this theater competition in Fullerton, at Cal State Fullerton, and it was me and Matt. Another friend of mine who's black, and he came from basketball as well into theater with me, but he was a little cooler. He was a little bit more put together.
He was the athlete that did theater.
Yeah. You can say that. Yeah, you can say that.
Evan didn't quite make it.
Yeah.
I tried to do the double.
Matt, amazing jump shot, by the way. I hope you still got it, Matt. You never listen to this. So we do this scene, and it's from this play called Top Dog Underdog. I don't know if you know Top Dog Underdog.
No, never heard.
It's this play. It's a whole play. The only two characters are these brothers, and they're both black. They're named Lincoln and Booth. Their parents named them Lincoln and Booth. Is like a
wild.
fuck you to your own
Crazy.
Crazy choice.
Yeah. And, spoilers, you're not gonna watch the fucking play. It's violent. It's aggressive. Booth kills Lincoln
Oh,
by the end.
It's a little
I
on
would've-
the nose.
Little on the nose.
Yeah, they could have at least flipped it, huh?
Yeah. But it's distinctly black. And when I say that, I mean, like, have you seen Jordan Peele's Get Out?
Yes.
yep.
You know how that movie feels different? It doesn't feel like Paul Thomas Anderson. When Paul Thomas Anderson comes from his lens, it is purely how he looks at the world, right? Seeing Jordan Peele's Get Out, I was like, oh, that is literally I get why white people like Indiana Jones so much. Like, imagine seeing yourself and you're like, I'm that guy. I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm all those people. And so we do this play, we go to this competition. And we do the play, and I'm excited. It's like, this is my moment. This is my moment to do a thing that nobody else can do. And we get our notes back, our acting notes. And it said we didn't act black enough. We were acting too white, and we were acting too Disney. And I'm sure you can guess what race the judges were. They were all like 30, 40-year-old white people.
Those are three wild notes.
Just
in general.
Those were the only notes we got. We didn't say vocalize more, emote more. The literal only problem was that we didn't behave in the way that they perceive black people.
And this was from your hometown, right?
This is from Fullerton. Yeah, near where I grew up. This is a fucking Cal State Fullerton. This is a school. Like, this is, and it was like what clicked with me, because I wanted to be an actor at the time, and it shattered that. I remember thinking, oh, this is what they think. Okay. Oh, it was our first glimpse into professional acting. Like, do you remember the guy in Scream? Not the Scooby-Doo, Shaggy. What the fuck is his name?
Oh my god. Matt something, no?
No, I know. He played Shaggy.
Somebody literally
Yeah,
just said
Matt,
his name to me
not
the other
Matthew
day.
Broderick. That's definitely not Matthew
That
Broderick.
would be hilarious.
It's
if it was Matthew Broderick, though.
Regardless, that fucking, that guy.
Yeah.
And this is when his career was a little more popping too.
Yeah.
He was one of the judges. He was not my judge. He did not say, just Matthew, whatever the fuck you are, you did not do this to me specifically. But
I'd never watch Scooby-Doo again.
yeah,
It'll never be the same.
but he was there. It was a very legitimate. That was a
Matthew Lillard.
Matthew Lillard. Yes, he was. It was a very prestigious, not the right word, but it was like, this is my first glimpse into the industry.
It was
Yeah,
a gateway.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is and I was like, oh, they don't perceive me as a person. Like, I'm not, when they're seeing me acting, they're like, okay, thug number 3, let's put him here. And so time goes on, and then, how old were you guys in 2015?
I was 16.
14.
Okay. I was older. I was in college. And so, do you guys, Star Wars?
Yeah,
A little bit.
I wrote. Which one came out in 2014?
15, it was
Or
Force
15.
Awakens.
I was really excited for that one. I
Okay.
remember
You
that.
saw it?
I
Yes.
saw that one.
What'd you guys think? Oh, boy.
I mean, it's just the first one, right? Like, they just remade the first one.
Yeah, they
I remember-
basically remade the first
I remember walking out being like, wait a second. I'm only 14, but I know that I've seen this before.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I didn't really watch any of the Star Wars before, so I kind of just went in like, this was my first glimpse into Star Wars. So I don't know.
I remember being very excited and then walking out and being like, that was very different than what I feel like I was told was going to happen in that movie.
Yeah.
I'm a big Adam Driver fan, though. I think he's great.
Adam Driver's great. John Boyega. I love John Boyega. I think he's great.
He was in, what the fuck is the movie he's in with the dude that's playing Green Lantern now? I think it was just called Detroit.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
He was great in that.
And people, I remember people were really pissed off at John Boyega too, because they're like, oh no, the stormtroopers, like, it's supposed to be a clone of the same white guy, and I got all this stuff.
Like, look. Also, we gotta consider the fact that, like, there's fucking aliens running around, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what are we really
Like,
doing
yeah,
here?
like, come on.
So I remember that trailer came out. I remember that reaction. The same thing happened to Donald Glover with Spider-Man, and that wasn't even it was like a joke.
It was a joke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in that.
People were so mad, and for me, I didn't give a fuck about Star Wars because it was just it's Luke Skywalker. Yep, cool. And I saw the movie, and I agree, it's basically very similar to the first one.
Yeah, right.
But John Boyega was the first black character I'd ever seen in anything that big as a main. He wasn't fucking what was his name? Lando. It wasn't Lando Calrissian. He was like a main character. And it meant so much to me to the point where I got his stormtrooper number tattooed on my arm.
Wow. That's awesome.
And then I saw him during the Black Lives Matter movement. Did you see him? He was showing the fuck out. Yo, I'm so happy. This tattoo stands the test of time.
I know that they took him off a bunch of the posters.
Yeah, but
In certain countries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Wow, just wild.
I forgot about that too.
just real quick, you guys got to see this. This will come full circle. I promise you. I promise you.
Yeah, no worries.
we already did the tattoo. I thought we were full circle.
So needless to say, okay, this was, and you got to understand, this is amidst George Floyd. I'm in the most racist goddamn area. I'm furious, and I saw this. It goes on, and I will start crying. So I'm going to stop now. But it meant so much to me. And part of one of the reasons why I moved, I don't know, I assume you had some pretty harrowing experiences during COVID and quarantine. Part of the reasons I moved was like I needed to get to a place where there were other black people. Like I was fucking going insane. And I got out here and I realized how segregated this is. See, it's coming full circle. Stand-up comedy. I told you.
We're back.
But the scene is super segregated, and so I went to the black mics, and it was a vibe and an energy and a feeling that was what I've been yearning for. And so when I see you guys, the reason I get excited and I want to work with you so bad is because you are young and you're starting fucking now. And you seem to know who you are. You're like Matt Trey. You're like Matt Park. God damn. Trey Parker and Matt Stone. And you have a synergy. You have a dynamic about each other that I don't even know if you notice, which is perfect. Don't think about it. Just keep being you.
Just keep doing it.
I was turned off my mic during that whole thing.
Yeah. I figured I saw it and I was like having an existential crisis.
Okay, just cut me off. I'll be fine.
No, we'll edit. All
right, my bad, audience. But
which is a good point to like. It's definitely still recording because the bars, but like it's not like on the chart. So we're gonna. We've got the phone.
Yeah.
Thank God Enzo suggested that. So let me stop it real quick and we'll start it up again.
Oh boy.
Wow.
What?
I'm just like, there's so much.
How long have we been? Probably a long time. This is gonna be the longest goddamn episode. I don't mind. You don't mind. I
love talking to you, man. This is a beautiful time.
I'm worried about my parking. What time do we park?
Like 10:03. We parked in that like parking lot, you know, right by the park. I don't know if you know where that is.
It's right there.
I was parked in the fucking alleyways, but when I had a car, my car's gone. I use public transit.
I mean, that's the best thing to do, genuinely. There we go.
Pissed you made me drive here today.
I used to do street stand-up. I gotta tell you guys about that shit.
What, street stand-up?
Yeah, I got hospital bills from that shit.
There we go. Okay.
We're back?
We're good to go. Yep.
We're back.
Okay. What the fuck was I saying?
I like that it's like a rough, you know, this, like, you know what I mean? This recording.
It's like we're meeting each other.
She's way better than Mike.
You're dynamic. You guys know what you want, and you're not fucking delusional. I'm sure you've met people where they're like, I'm gonna be a director, and you're like, okay, whatever you say.
We've worked with.
I believe that. It's funny how often you meet people that when you guys came here, I was like, well, we'll see if this is gonna be stupid. And I assume you came here with a sense of like, he's a comic, and Zach says he's nice. I don't know what he even said about me.
Yeah, I mean, I just, our introduction was he like we had been wanting to do like a little bit of press for the movie. He was like, yeah, he's got a podcast. You guys should go on it. I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. Like it sounds.
I was game for it.
Sounds like
right
fun.
away. I heard podcast, stand up comic. I was like, let's do it.
Yeah,
Like I love how spry and youthful you are and rosy cheeked. It makes me so happy.
we're ignorant in the best way possible.
No, it's awesome.
It makes me happier too that we're literally in a living room right now with microphones. It just feels more homey.
I feel like I would have been a little bit scared if we were like saying if there was like the recliner chairs and we had to put on headphones and shit. I'd be like, oh god, here we go.
And it's really cool. Oh, there's a cat. The cat. Oh, don't mess up the audio.
I'm glad that you guys understand the vibe that some people. I'm working on using tact. This is not everyone. I am not everyone's cup of tea.
Sure.
And I'm learning to accept that about myself. But no, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. My vibe doesn't fit with everyone, and I've accepted that. But you never know until you're in the conversation. It's like, well, okay, let's hope. Like as soon as it starts, you're like, let's hope that we communicate with each other well, because if not, it's gonna get weird.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting. But you're dynamic, yes, and the whole black comedy thing. It was interesting when I say he was him. I say I'm coming from this lens of like, oh, I know that I don't relate to that guy's experiences, but I know that as a comic, I know that guy. I know a bunch of comics that are an amalgamation of literally that guy, and so it was very familiar in that way. That was a very long-winded thing I said. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet now.
No, I mean that was
great.
a really great story to hear, honestly.
I mean, it's good that even exists, that idea, right? That, like, you know that guy. I mean, that's...
And, like, that going back to that John Boyega video you sent us, like, you can tell that he's authentic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's powerful stuff.
Authenticity is key.
Yeah. And I honestly think, I mean, I don't know. You can tell me if you've noticed it where, like, I think there's a lot of really great black directors that are coming out.
Yeah, I think that I just saw
Ryan Coogler's one of my favorites. Fruitvale Station is one of my...
Fruitvale Station
like,
is such a great
top
movie.
20 film for me, for sure.
Oh, sorry, my roommate. How long have we been doing this?
It's been about like an hour and 10 minutes.
Okay, she's gotta go to bed.
Okay. All right. We can,
if you want, we can do this again, or, I don't know, meet up or whatever.
I'm down to... I'm trying to
I think you
think.
can wrap up. What's the deal?
I want to audition for one of your things.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need to cover.
No, I mean, I think...
Sorry, guys.
No, please, I understand. We're in your house.
Yeah. Look, I'm just happy that you were even able to watch it. I mean, in any capacity.
It was great.
Lucky's trying to talk right now.
Yeah, the cat is literally sitting on Max's lap right now. What Lucky is?
Lucky, that's lucky.
Yeah, I'm happy that you got to see it, and I'm happy that you were able to like enjoy some of it, because I think that was one of the biggest concerns that we had, was definitely like, will a stand-up comedian be able to sit down and watch this movie about stand-up comedy and at any point say, I'm enjoying myself watching this? And I think that like even in the capacity where, you know, we pulled back and we realized like, look, there's a certain extent where we're not going to be able to hit the authenticity of this feeling like a real stand-up. Like this won't translate to stage if you were to pull this material and all that. And once we had accepted that, I think it kind of liberated us to really pursue the idea of like, we want to tell a great story, because that's what we can do. And like, I don't want to kid. We never wanted to kid ourselves and say we can do great stand-up, but we feel very confidently that when we work together and when we do, you know, everything that we have to do, that we can tell a great story.
Yeah, we're trying to tell. We're telling a story. We're not telling you how to feel about this guy. We're not telling you how to feel about his stand-up. Like, we are showing you this man on stage in his life, and it's up to you to figure out what you feel about him.
I think you nailed it. I think that not being a nitpicky asshole, not hyper-focusing on comedy for no goddamn reason, sitting back and leaning back and saying, as an audience member, I'm just watching this story, and it happens to be about a comedian. This could have been about any goddamn body. And I think that's what works about it. And I think you are a fantastic storyteller. You know how to pull emotion out. and you are a great filmmaker, and you have a great eye for visual storytelling. I think that mixed together with whatever the fuck Enzo's doing, I don't know what he's doing. I haven't met the guy, so I saw him on the phone.
Hopefully one day you will, man.
Yeah, but I'm gonna audition. I'm going to. Is this how they do acting? Don't you demand an audition?
Yeah, you just kind of gotta fight your way in everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Sometimes it's how it works. Sometimes it's all about where you're at.
I gotta show you my headshot I made. Anyway, but all that being said, no, it's fantastic. And when is it coming out? And can you
May 11th.
May 11th is the release date for sure. Yeah.
May 11th, yeah, it comes out May 11th. It'll be on our YouTube channel, Da Vinci Street Productions, and you can check out our Instagram. That's where most of our stuff is. We have a website. It's all just Da Vinci Street Productions, and you can get any information you need from there. Yeah.
Check out our other films too.
Yeah. Sorry, I heard people screaming outside. All right.
But real quick, just wanted to say thank you for having us, man.
Sure.
Yeah, of course, thank you.
I'm very excited to see where you've had in your career moving.
It's gonna be weird.
Moving forward. It's all right, man. So long as you stick to what you're doing, you love what you're doing. That's key. Right?
Thank you. So. You as well. We'll talk. All right.
Cool.
Beauty. Beauty.
How do I stop this?